thanks for taking the time. I really appreciate it. This is really fascinating what you're doing. First of all, where did the concept come from? The idea to do this and to do it relatively quickly.
So the whole time through this, I wanted to make sure that our students could get an opportunity to walk across that stage at Martorelli Stadium. That's what every single graduate in the history of the North Hill School District has done. So I started to think of ways that we could do this and still practice social distancing. You know, we're fortunate to have a stadium the size that we do. It helps that it's, you know, artificial turf and spread out the way it is. So I started thinking about this when I was at Walmart, and I'm looking at the social distancing practices of people entering the building. And I'm like, we can do this on our stadium, and we can probably be stricter than what Walmart, Home Depot, Giant Eagle are doing right now. Look, I know that those are essential items of food and everything like that, but to me, graduation for the class of 2020 is essential. This is their last opportunity. And I just started thinking, how can we get them at that stadium safely, social distance, and across that stage to get their diploma? So as I looked at the field, you can lay it out easily. I know you understand with the hash marks and the sidelines and how far apart everybody is. So those marks are all 17 to 18 yards apart from each other. And I'll show you the map here in a second if you'd like, but I can walk you through the actual map that we're going through. But if you use those markers, you end up with about 28 spaces from the end line of the football field all the way to the 10-yard line, which is where we would have our stage set up. And I began to think about, okay, who's this really important to? This is important to kids' parents and their household, their family members. So if we allow the graduate and no more than 4 of their family members to enter the stadium with them, they're not going to be within 20 yards of any other group of people as they make their way to that stage area. When they get there, we're going to schedule our graduates by the minute. So we've got 305 graduates this year. Very simply, it's going to take us about 5 hours to do the ceremony for them. But it'll allow them, again, to walk across that stage with their parents right there with them. And so when I show you the map, you can see as we get to the end of it, they'll separate, and so that the student can go up onto the stage and across to receive their diploma. And the parents can go to the front of the stage to videotape it, take photographs, and just have that important moment with their kids. And then back together, Jim Scott has always done our formal photographs, so they'll be able to be in front of Jim Scott, get their formal photograph taken, and then exit the facility. And so if we ask families to not arrive earlier than 20 minutes before their assigned time, you know, we've really controlled the number of people into that stadium, the number of people in our parking lots, and we're able to keep people really far apart from each other as we make this special event for our kids. I know it's not perfect. It's not what I wanted in October, November for this group of students, but we all know it's different. And I'd love to give them their ceremony with all 300 of them on the field, all 5,000 people screaming. We know that that's not going to be possible. And so I came up with this idea, started to piece it together. I spoke to the leadership in Westview, which the stadium exists in Westview, and they felt that we were pretty socially distant and could maintain the safety. And I also had the opportunity to speak to Adam Ravenstall and Senator Lindsey Williams. And they all felt that I think you've met the guidelines that for social distancing, and I think you can do it. No one will be entered without a mask. So, you know, those things that we have to do when we go into public are the things that we're going to do for our ceremony.
Let me see the map. If you can hold the map up.
You got it.
Get an idea of what
I'm going to share my desktop with you.
Okay, please.
Okay, you see it?
Yes.
Okay, so if you look in the bottom right corner where it says untitled map on the stage, that's where you would enter the stadium at the ticket booth in that corner of the stadium. Mm-hmm. So as you make your way down those steps to where at the bottom it says NH Arch, that'll be the check-in area so that we know that Andrew Stockey is here with his family for commencement and you've been entered into the stadium. Mm-hmm. The first block is where the pylon would be at the end of the end zone in that little yellow box.
Yes.
So each of those boxes, and you can follow the arrows as they serpentine across the stadium, those boxes are about 18 yards apart from each other. Mm. And you make your way to the 10-yard line. You see the arrows split. So the arrow splits at the top of the 10-yard line where the student goes to the stage area, and the parents go to the parent photo area so that they can, again, capture that moment as their child walks across that stage. And then they reconvene, and that's why the arrows are green and red together until you get to the part where they split. And you can see where we have our professional photographer at the end of the stadium, and then they exit the stadium on the driveway around the track and out.
My first question for you, I mean, this is elaborate. You've planned all this out. Have you seen anything like this before? Is this something that you and your staff came up with on your own?
Well, we saw a glimpse of something similar to this from a school in Ohio and began to talk about what this could look like for us. Started to talk about a couple of different ideas at our high school. Our commencement ceremony is not at our high school, it's at our stadium. And so we then said, I think we can do this at the stadium if we line it up like this. And then that's where this idea came about as we started to piece it together.
Is there any violation of, I mean, Governor Wolf has closed all schools, obviously, the end of the school year. So this doesn't violate that at all?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't know if it's a large gathering or not a large gathering. I know that, as I said before, there's no groups larger than 10 in those little boxes, and those boxes are 18 yards apart from each other. And that's where I feel like we are practicing social distancing. Again, you're further apart than anybody in this setup than you will be if you walk into Walmart today. And, that's where we're going to manage it and monitor it and make sure that nobody, violates those areas. We have school police that are going to help us manage the field. We've got local police that will help us manage the parking lots. And that's where, again, we can maintain safe distances from each other.
Can I have you back on camera for a moment? Okay. So I mean, it's laid out perfectly, and if everybody follows the rules, it works. So I guess the concern is, do you think everybody's going to be able to follow the rules and do what they need to do to make this work? Because obviously, if one person doesn't follow the rules, you could have a major problem on your hands.
Sure.
Okay.
The answer is yes. Yes, I think that we can follow the rules. We've got a great group of kids and an incredible group of parents, and I trust that they know we're doing the best we can to offer this opportunity for kids. And there's opportunity for sabotage in anything that we do. There's opportunity to sabotage our regular ceremony. But I think that this is a really important event for people, and I don't see anybody that would want to derail that. It's optional. It's absolutely not mandatory. It's an opportunity for us, again, to celebrate that student with their parents. I know it's not what they wanted as a full class, but this is the best we can do at this time, and it gives them a really nice ceremony on that stage, like I said before, across that stage, getting their diploma in our stadium.
Do you think of yourself as a case study, that if everything goes according to plan and it's smooth, that perhaps other schools, not just in Pennsylvania, but maybe around the country, might try it?
That would be nice if they did. I have a senior in my house, and what they're doing at commencement is not this, and it hurts. This isn't great for them, but it's the best we can do. And I want them with all their friends, but that can't happen.
Mm-hmm. What's been the early reaction? I'm sure you've heard from some parents. I'm sure you probably even talked to some parents or students prior to this. What was their reaction?
So I let Heather handle the social media aspect of all this, and from what she tells me, it's been very positive. I know we've got some negative comments from the kids, again, because I understand this isn't what they want, but that's, again, the best we can do, and that's the unfortunate part. I feel bad for them. Let's really hope we can be in green in August, and if that happens, I'll throw a picnic on that field for all 300 of them. And but for commencement, the further away from the last day of school we get, the less chance we have of those kids being there. And we're going to have students go to the military, and that's going to happen. We're going to have families leave the area. We're going to have families hopefully go on vacation. And if we begin to kick this out beyond that last day of school further and further, the less likelihood of getting the most amount of people possible to experience this than we'll have. And so that's why, I'm really hopeful for the 30th, which the last day of school is the 29th, and we picked the Saturday because we need 5 hours to get through 300 graduates if we're going to do it this way. But I didn't want to get it out into late June, early July. And at that point, we're going to begin to lose our students, and they're just going to begin to transition to their college life or their after high school life, and they're going to forget about this ceremony.
I appreciate the time. Thank you very much. Good luck with this. It sounds fascinating and interesting, and I'm sure we'll be out there to cover it if you'll allow us. But once again, thank you very much for your time, and I appreciate it.